Rick, good morning.
Good morning.
So, since we're RSA conference, and I think I learned about the cybersecurity canon from you 2 years ago at the conference, so I would like to hear a bit of an update. I mean, just the idea of a Hall of Fame for books about security, it's a great way for me because I love to read. I love to read about these books. So do you have any new contenders that you think should be in the cybersecurity canon?
Well, yeah, it's been going on for like 3 years now, and it's like you said, it's like a rock and roll Hall of Fame for cybersecurity books. So what that means is we have about 60 books that are candidate books that we've identified.
Okay.
And we've put 10 into the Hall of Fame over the last 3 years. We have an award ceremony every year, and we put 2 or 3 in every year.
Oh, that's great.
And we bring out the authors and get to talk to them. It's a lot of fun. I can't believe they pay me money to do that, right? It's a lot of fun. So my favorite book in the canon, in the Hall of Fame, is The Cuckoo's Egg by Clifford Stoll. Right? This is an old book. It's a book that got me into cybersecurity back in the late 90s, or 80s, I'm sorry.
And it's really interesting how, considering how old that book is, and you read it even now, and you're saying, oh my goodness, this is exactly what my world is.
It is. It hasn't really changed that much, right? And that's why I always throw it out as a book that you should read if you haven't read anything yet. Mm-hmm. It is, Clifford Stoll is a Berkeley astronomer.
Okay.
And he's kind of a lefty liberal, way to the left, right? But everybody likes him. He's a friendly guy. Yeah. But lefty liberal means he makes his own clothes. He guards his own food. You know, he's that guy. And he
I didn't think there were people like that left.
Yeah, well, he used to be. I don't know if he still is, right? Okay. But he hates everything government and the man and all that, right? But Berkeley's downsizing the astronomy department, and he's going to lose his job. The IT department from Berkeley says, hey, Cliff, come work for us for a year, right? And you can wait for your job to come up. And in the meantime, there's this 40-cent accounting error in the student accounting records. Back then, we charged students for computer time. So in the entire student body, once a month, it was off by 40 cents, and nobody could figure it out. Yeah. So Cliff, come work for us and run this Unix lab, and then track this error down. Yeah. That investigation turned out to be the first public cyber espionage campaign run by the Russians, who hired cyber mercenaries out of East Germany to compromise academic systems in the US to get to US government systems. Because back then, the internet was just strings and cans. Yeah. There wasn't any security. Exactly. So that was this big operation, right? Yeah. So Cliff, lefty liberal now, who doesn't want to talk to anybody in government, now daily talking to the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI, right? So it reads like a Jason Bourne novel, right? There's a love story in it, okay, and there's even a recipe for chocolate chip cookies that I've tried, okay, so.
I don't think I remember that one.
It's in the back, all right, but I didn't do very well, but there is one, all right, so I recommend that to everybody, okay, so, and that made it into the Hall of Fame 2 years ago, one of the first entries. This year, a new candidate that I always want to push is a book called The Phoenix Project. Okay. And it's a novel, but it's really a novel designed to teach us about DevOps. You've heard about DevOps.
Wait, we now have a security candidate, and it's about DevOps.
DevOps, right?
Talk about hitting the buzzwords.
I know. Let me see if I can throw some more in there, right? Because most of us don't really understand what DevOps is. The idea of DevOps started about 2010.
Yeah, with Gene Kim.
And 3 kind of converging ideas kind of came together, you know, the agile development method, quick delivery of code, and a couple of other things. Right, and still people doing DevOps still have a hard time describing it. Even I'm not doing a good job of it, right? So the authors, Gene Kim, decided to write a novel to make it easier to digest. Oh. So it is about a online retail company who used to be #1, but they're getting beat by their competition now. They're #2 or #3, but they have this project called Project Phoenix that's going to fix everything.
That's why they're going to be reborn.
They're going to reborn, right? But it's 2 years behind schedule, and they can't get it out the door. So the board fires the CEO, fires the CIO, and says, and brings in an intermediary CIA and says, you got 6 months to fix this or you're going to be fired. So the story is how he goes through and tries to revamp his entire process to fix this problem. There's a board member who's kind of a DevOps guru who kind of walks him, hold his hand. He's kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? So it's an easy read. You can get it done in an afternoon if you really want to, right? But you'll start to learn about why DevOps, I think, is the next thing for us.
Okay. And there's security elements in there too? Or is this one of those where you think it's more of, we now have to turn it into a security story?
No, there's definitely security as part of it. The whole idea of DevOps is that all your IT and security updates is a system of systems. Right. Before we've been doing it in stovepipes. The marketing guys have an idea. There'd be some testing, quality control, blah blah blah. Right. Okay, and once they pass it to the other black box, nobody would ever talk to each other again. So DevOps is this idea that we would track it all the way through and keep track of it, and to eliminate something called technical debt. Right. I never knew any of this until I read this book. So if you are just learning about DevOps, Project Phoenix is the thing you want to go for.
Okay. Wow. Well, I never thought I'd be reading a book on DevOps.
Yeah, no, a novel, huh?
I think that's what I'm going to be reading this week. So, my personal favorite, and I was kind of hoping that you can give me your take on it, is there is a comic book for kids on cybersecurity called The Sinja.
The Sinja, yeah.
And I think it's a great way to get kids interested, and I think you reviewed it as a candidate.
I did. I met the author at Black Hat last year on another project, and we got to talking about what it was trying to do with it, and it fits totally with what we're trying to do with the cybersecurity canon. The canon, as a canon of literature, is a kind of a host of tools of books that we all should have read by now. Right. There's even novels, real novels, not the one novels like we would go read like a Jason Bourne novel. Right. So that where the cyber is correct, okay? As opposed to Harry Potter cyber. You know what I mean by Harry Potter cyber? Meaning there's a book that was recommended to me where the bad guys broke into the NSA by guessing the NSA's password, which was password.
Oh, no.
So that's Harry Potter cyber. Yeah. That's never going to happen.
That's like the movie Black Hat.
Yeah, it's like the movie Black Hat.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I was watching it, I said, okay, you got the gist of it, that yes, you can spear phish the passport, but it's never that easy.
It's not that easy, right? So some of the novels in the canon candidate list, there's code in some of those books that you could still use today and it would still work, right? Yeah, so it's real cybersecurity and the stories are good, right? Okay. So the Sinja comes along, it's this comic book designed for kids, to introduce them about being safe on the internet and how to secure themselves. And they throw all these cybersecurity terms in just to introduce them to the concepts, right? So you hear about denial of service, you hear about encryption, you hear about all those things that we're all supposed to know already, right? And we're introducing them to kids.
In a really fun way. Because it's beautifully drawn, the story is engaging. I can't imagine that any kid who picked it up isn't going to walk away being like, oh, wait, I want to read the next one.
Or hopefully they want to be one of those people, right? That's what I'm hoping for, right? So, we're very excited to have them on there. And I get that question a lot. Why is a comic book on the cybersecurity canon? But that's exactly why.
Well, I think it's also, if we all think about it, we all kind of got into the security industry because we were all trying to be superheroes. We're trying to save the world.
I think so.
So comic book kind of appeal to that side.
I do. I learned how to read through comic books, so that is right up my alley, right?
Exactly. So, well, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Phoenix Project, and I'd love to hear about future titles as they come along.
Okay, I will definitely pass them your way.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. That was fun.